Good morning everyone. In this video I'm going to analyze the live price action for EU and DXY to see what opportunities there may be today. You're going to see my strategy and my analysis, so if you're interested in those then please stick around. Right, starting off here on the daily. What's the daily showing us? Well, yesterday we closed out as a bearish candle, right? After we swept that previous weekly and daily high, we just continued bearish for the rest of the day and closed out. It was a bit of a slow day, to be expected on a British bank holiday. So what else do we have? We're still up here in a premium of our daily price leg, right at the top here. We've had one bearish day after taking some buy side liquidity. Trend is still bullish, not too much has changed. It's just one bearish day. So we're just on the lookout for if it's going to be a bearish continuation, or is there any reason to continue bullish now with our trend. If I look at our inverse DXY for a moment, we have an imbalance still above the previous day. So we do still have a POI to fill, like a close by draw on price. We don't have that imbalance here, of course, but there are further imbalances below maybe price wants to head into. Other than that, we have our previous daily highs and lows still intact on EU, but on DXY I believe we may have just swept above the previous daily high, which we have at the moment. That hasn't made any crazy bearish price move yet, so we'll see that on the lower time frames. But for now we haven't had massive movement from it, but price has withdrawn from that previous daily high since. But like I said, we have this imbalance here which may cause us to go bullish on DXY and bearish on EU. So not loads to see up here on the daily, not much has changed. Let's go down to the 4 hour, see what that shows us. So here on the 4 hour, as I said yesterday, we could use this as a 4 hour bullish leg, right from this low, whatever's your preference. I'm just going to concentrate on this recent price action leg within here, right, because obviously we swept some internal sell side liquidity, and then on news we broke above these highs, right, created a new higher high. Now this purple box here, for those that aren't aware, is just a 4 hour order block, right, from previous price in history. So we entered that 4 hour order block on Friday, right? That's held as some resistance, and from there we had our bearish day yesterday, right, after sweeping that previous weekly and daily high during Asia morning, and then now we look like we're starting to pull back towards this discount here, this 4 hour order block, and to fill this imbalance. So it still looks like that's the direction price would head in for me. I do like how corrective this is, because once we're down into these areas here, we can look for those with trend longs. Right, so this looks very corrective, which is nice. On a lower time frame, this is the type of setup where I would set my order here to go long, right? So I do like this. However, I do believe from this premium here with this buy side liquidity and to come down to this order block, we may see further bearish price action. Now on our inverse DXY, it's the same deal. We have our bearish leg here. We took that previous weekly low and previous higher time frame sell side liquidity, and this lovely corrective price action is pulling back towards that premium. Now today, of course, we did take the previous daily high, so we're waiting to see what will happen. Of course, price doesn't have to continue pulling back. We'll see if this previous daily high buy side liquidity makes price continue to go bearish or not. It's not having the biggest effect right now. Bear in mind this isn't live on that 4 hour. So in terms of liquidity, we've taken sell side liquidity on a higher time frame, buy side liquidity on a higher time frame. Usually price is then drawn towards some sort of POI for the opposite liquidity, right? So sell side liquidity POIs, buy side liquidity POIs in this direction. So that's the way I still see it going for now, right? Price is fairly bearish, and we could maybe see price continue down into this discount area here. So early indications of a bias for me are bearish. I think we need to go down to 1 hour to see this in more detail, but I'm still thinking bearish pullback. Okay, so let's move on. So now we're on the hourly. This leg becomes super clear. I'm mostly concentrating on this as a 1 hour leg rather than a 4 hour, but we've got this 1 hour leg here from this low to this high up here using the fib tool. This is my premium, this is my discount. Right, price is being very corrective, pulling back down towards this discount area where we have 1 hour order blocks within the 4 hour order block. Same here on DXY. So I do like that, and like I said, once we're down into this zone here and up into this zone possibly, we can look for those with trend opportunities. So that's what I would want to see for the future, but for now I'm still bearish. Okay, so we're clearly creating some sort of overnight and Asia range here. We've taken some internal buy side liquidity, but that clearly hasn't driven price to make a lower low just yet. This buy side liquidity previous daily high sweep here on DXY hasn't driven price low either. So I do still see DXY possibly continuing its bullish corrective trend to pull back, but we'll see. Okay, so that's obviously what I want to see as well, and it's also the indication I'm getting from these high time frame draws on price. So yeah, just very corrective pullback looking action here. We did spike into the discount, but I think there's more to go. I think we'd need to take a nice sell side liquidity before I believe we're going to go higher in price. So let's go over the confluences again. We're in a premium. We'd rejected a high time frame POI, bearish previous day. We have our draws on price down in the discount, draw on price in the premium after taking sell side liquidity on a higher time frame. So there's the possibility we can catch some sort of counter trend pullback still towards this discount area. So I think we should go down to the M15, see what that looks like and what opportunities we may have this morning. So here on the M15 this morning, we have had a small sort of breakdown here in Frankfurt and into the London Open, but I don't think it's good enough yet. We haven't left any imbalances, so it's not good enough for me to show the momentum. We have got some sort of trend line here leading down towards the previous daily low and that discount, which is great. We are seeing some sort of resistance here on DXY just because price is sort of consolidated there for the time being anyway. Now what I do want to see is to go with my bias for the shorts is for price to come back up, sweep that Asia high, right, to go with that London Asia cycle to head the other way. Okay, so I want price to come back up, sweep these highs here, and then we get a nice proper break of structure below maybe the lowest creating now or the Asia low, doesn't really matter to me, and then we can get the pullback to our order block with imbalance, right, because there should be some momentum coming from there after taking buy side liquidity to then head lower towards that discount. So that's sort of price action I'd want to see. Buy side liquidity sweep, order block with imbalance left behind, then we have a possible corrective pullback leaving inducement, which will just be buy side liquidity below our order block to be mitigated before our order. Order is set up here, stop loss just above the highs, right, and we can target previous daily low or lower down into the discount towards this, right, after we have our break of structure around this zone here. So this is something I'll be looking for. I want to see that good imbalance gap here before the break of structure, sweep of buy side liquidity, and then some sort of pullback to our order block to continue short. Now on our inverse DXY, of course, that means either it would need to come down and also sweep its Asia lows and then break above, right, so we can see a clear break of structure to pull back and then continue going up. So something along those lines possibly. At the moment it could look bearish if we come down and break below these lows and close as a break of structure. It could look bearish and this could look bullish, so we'll see how that goes. That's why I want a nice sweep, buy side liquidity, clear rejection, then we have that momentum, right, leaving behind an imbalance in order block, taking out these lows, taking out this high here as a clear break of structure, and then we can wait for a pullback to continue, same as we do up here. And then we're being drawn towards our imbalances on both DXY and EU. So that's my preference. I do like to see same day buy side liquidity. I know we've already taken some down here internally, but it didn't exactly cause the best bearish price action and break of structure there. So this would be my preference by far. Now if we do break down from this area here, it's not impossible, right? So let's say this is going to be our order block here, and then we was to break down very strongly, leaving behind an imbalance as well, and this order block breaking below these lows, that could look good too, right? It would be my secondary option. It wouldn't be preferred, right? But we'd have our breakoff structure, right? Price would be going in the direction that fits my bias, and then we could have a possible small pullback to our order block with imbalance to continue short. Okay, so breakoff structure around this zone here on the M15, possible M15 order block left behind here, of course, and then we could set our order stop loss just above the high. This would be where it'd get more difficult to see where that high is. Maybe you'd use this high for 10 pips, or the order block high itself for maybe 7.5. Okay, could look something like that. We could have a small corrective pullback maybe for price to go in that direction there. Now we wouldn't have that same clear internal buy side liquidity sweep. We would just have some momentum, and it would be following our bias, and we'd need to see, of course, DXY come up and break its highs and pull back to go that way as well. But again, option number one would be my favorite option. We'll see if we see that, but this would be like a backup to consider. I wouldn't necessarily take it. You could get a continuation maybe. So that's everything. I hope that was clear. I hope you gained value from that. Any questions, let me know in the comments. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon.